The Red Wings in the playoff picture, not exactly one in the same conversation when we started this past week. 3 of their 4 games before Monday were losses. But then all of a sudden, a hot streak. 3 games in a row. So the question as we enter our fast 5 minutes, a minute each, topic, you get 30 seconds, start the buzzer. Are they pretenders or contenders?
They're contenders, and anybody who thinks they're not hasn't been paying attention to this club enough. Now they're starting to play a lot better at home, and I think Mike Babcock might have done his best job ever. Gustav Nyquist has more goals than anybody else in the NHL since January 20th. He scored again last night. This team is starting to feel itself a little bit more, and I think one of the more underrated parts of this club has been the leadership of Nicholas Kronwall. He is in the same form of a guy like Nick Lidstrom, of a Steve Yzerman, of a Henrik Zetterberg. He leads quietly, but everybody in that room listens to him. I think they are contenders.
Agree, contenders. They got Nyquist is white hot. Jimmy Howard's playing better. You have terrific play on the special teams. 2 power play goals last night. They're killing late game penalties against Penguins and again last night. I wouldn't recommend that as a long-term strategy, but they're getting it done. Yeah. Team's playing a lot better, and yes, absolutely a contender. Why not? You know, they now have the 8th spot in the East. Right. You get in there and you get Howard playing really well. Anything's possible.
They hang on to that spot by the skin of their teeth today. Another big one against Minnesota. That game against Pittsburgh in the midst of all this March Madness may have been the most exciting piece of the week within this town.
Well, I think a lot of people jumped off, and I can raise my hand because I'm guilty. After they lost to Chicago 4-1, I thought this team, as much as they've tried, and we love the effort, we love the fact that they bring up young guys, as much as we wanted them to, I thought that was the tipping point for this club. And then they bounce back, and they get an emotional, big-time win against Pittsburgh. They beat Minnesota last night. This is a team that's 8-2 in their last 10 at the Joe. Suddenly, Joe Louis Arena has become more of a home ice advantage for them. I like their chances.
They are fun to watch. Yeah. We've brought this glove out.
That's Ron Guidry, and he was a lefty.
The past 3 weeks, maybe longer, because we knew something was up with Jose Iglesias. Now we find out stress fractures in both feet.
Dog chew that?
You should have brought
maybe I got
a leg along the way
instead of a glove. Look at that. Stephen Drew's the name that everybody wants to get out there. Turned down a lot of money in Boston. Should he be the Tigers' next shortstop, knowing what comes with signing him, losing a first-round draft pick?
I say yes. $14 million 1 year he turned down in Boston. Look, they need some offense. The guy will hit a couple of home runs for you a month. Solid defensively. If we're not going to lay out big-time money on Scherzer, where's the money coming from? Sure, why not? They got to get a shortstop. If he's the best one available, this is such an important year for the Tigers to go with.
I think he's an underrated glove. I like him, but not for $14 million. I think what he gives you offensively is something that they already have that they could give you offensively. We have to remember that Jose Iglesias was going to bat 8th or 9th in this batting order anyway. So who are you getting? Stephen Drew for $14 million at that spot, who will hit just about the same, just with a little bit extra pop. Give Danny Wirth a shot. He's been within your organization. He was a second-round draft pick. He, some say, has the best hands in the organization before they got Iglesias. So you know he can pick it. You know he'll help Castellanos a little bit at third with his range. It's the offense, and he's had a pretty good spring.
1 year. What are you going to do with the $14 million? Sitting in a bank.
Who says you just have to spend it right now?
Someone else we've talked about as the buzzer sounds. Virtually every week we laughed about it when we brought up the topics. And Ndamukong Suh is a guy who's still only under contract for 1 more year. That big cap hit. Is this deal going to get done anytime soon? Should we end this countdown clock or what?
You know what? There's now no rush. You had the whole bit where you're saying they got to get it done, restructured, so they have the money of free agency. That would have been ideal. That's what everyone would have liked to seen. Didn't happen with Ndamukong Suh. It's still sitting out there. Now, what's the rush? They got at least until the draft, so they got to spend money again. I would not have a countdown clock necessarily thinking it's going to be any day.
You talk to agents more than I do. I wonder what athletes, why they play the type of games that they do, and if they wonder at all or worry at all about the backlash from fans. And Ndamukong Suh is one of the best defensive tackles in all of football. You could make a case for Gerald McCoy, who was taken after him in the draft, but he's one of the best defensive tackles in all of football. And I get the sense people don't really know him. We talked to him a lot during the season. People in this town don't know him, and now the perception is that he's a selfish player. I want good players. I think this team needs him to be successful, because if you want to get rid of him and you want to use Nick Fairley and C.J. Mosley as your run stoppers, you're going to be in for a long season. But I do worry about the perception of Ndamukong Suh.
I think the biggest thing from fans is if you're going to get it done,
do it.
Get it done.
Help build the team around you.
If you know you want to be here long term, let's go. All right, another big topic in town, the Pistons, except not really a big topic, kind of a forgotten topic. Tom Gores, though, actually spoke to the media in Los Angeles, where the Pistons were. No surprise there. He said last night that the Joe Dumars decision after the season will come quickly. What percentage shot do you give Joe Dumars to be within the Pistons next year? Is that okay? Start and why?
We've been around this.
Yeah.
I mean, this is all something just so people feel like, okay, Joe, it's something we're going to wait till the end of the season. Tom Gores is playing the politically correct game. No one's buying that. Everybody knows that Joe Dumars is done after this season. He's done a lot for the organization, but his last few draft picks, his free agent signings, the fits are not there for this Pistons club. There's no way he'll be back as general manager and president. No
0% chance. Joe Dumars is a class guy. Like you said, done a lot for this organization as a player and executive. Brought him a title as executive, brought two as a player. Terrific guy. Deserves to go out in a classy manner. He doesn't need, if you want to give him to the end of the season or whatever the proper protocol is, I have no problem with that. But it's over for the Dumars era, and everybody knows that. And I'm pretty sure Joe Dumars.
I'll make this prediction. He resigns before he is fired. I think that's what he'll do. I think he'll say, you know what? My run here has ended. I want to spend some time with my family, take some time off. He'll resign before anyone can fire him.
Not a bad call, especially out of pride and everything he did build with the teams that went to all those Eastern Conference championships.
Sure. But what was interesting is he built those teams in a way that he felt they had pieces that put together that would be winners. Now it seems like he's chasing guys.
Chasing stats.
Brandon Jennings and Josh Smith just do not fit with this team and don't fit together. So it's funny how he's kind of lost his way in that regard.
Without a doubt. One of the biggest things about NCAA tournament play, there are always moments, and it's funny as they come along, you kind of put that checklist together of the one shining moment display at the end of the year. For you so far, Dan, what's been the biggest moment that sticks out to you, your favorite moment of the tournament so far?
My favorite moment's a little unusual, but it was the reaction of the University of Dayton getting to beat the University of Ohio State University. They call it. I'm screwing it up. I love the NCAA tournament when the smaller or lesser thought of schools in a state get a chance to play Big Brother. Ohio State will not schedule Dayton. They finally meet in the NCAA tournament. Dayton wins. It's more than just if they had beaten, UCLA or somebody else that they had gotten to beat. They beat Ohio State. The next day, the Dayton Daily News newspaper, front page, the whole banner, the University of Dayton. Great trolling by a newspaper.
Loved it.
Loved the community trolling. It was great. Yeah. Dayton's now in the Sweet 16. That's my favorite.
It was also a really good game, and I think that's what makes part of those special moments. You could see a team blow another team out and think, wow, that's great. But when it's a lower seed beating a bigger seed and it's a good game, Mercer-Duke, and I know that's the easy one for a lot of people out there because everyone wants to see Duke go by the wayside. But when you see that type of emotion, that type of effort, pretty impressive.
Something cool for me that stuck out real quick. Devin Oliver's sister on Dayton. Down syndrome in the stands. This is his biggest fan. Yeah. Took him to prom. She's in the stands getting interviewed.
So cool.
Part of the moment of what makes this tournament so special. We had never.
Good interview, too.
Great interview. Yeah. Fantastic. And it's what makes March Madness so special. Yeah. Well, in the midst of